What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Singing the Tea. I'm your host, Dustin, singer, actor, Lewis. And you already know, sometimes I sing, sometimes I give you all the reality TV tea, but it's always going to be what you want, and it's always going to be what you need. And listen, y'all, we are going to jump into something new for us. You know, Real Housewives of Atlanta are done. Real Housewives of Potomac, they don't got anything going on. Married to Medicine, they ain't even doing nothing right now with that. So I was like, what can we do? What can we talk about? You know what? I love and Marriage Huntsville. And I was sitting there watching it, and I was like, you know what, let me catch up and just dive on into the thing. So they only 4 episodes in, so I was like, I'll catch myself up, and then we'll start reviewing this bad boy on episode 4. So we're going to dive into that. So if you are new here, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell button, so when I do drop new content, you can get those alerts, and you can come back over here to Singing the Tea and get all of everything that you need. And with that being said, what you need right now is some of this Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 10, Episode 4. Now, I'm going to dive into it on Episode 4. I got myself caught up, so let's just go ahead and talk about the things. Now, this episode picks up, and it opens up with the conversation continuing with, Maurice, Marceau, just basically the Scotts, having that conversation of Jalen, who is Kimmy's son, having a conversation of him looking at Maurice not like a father, although that's his stepdad, he looks at him like a brother or mentor figure, and he looks at his uncle, who is Marceau, Maurice's brother, more like a father figure. And I'm gonna be real, I know that hurt Maurice's feelings. Let me tell y'all something about this show. Hold on. The only thing with Love and Marriage Huntsville, everybody's name starts with an M or some type of Tisha, or that's the only thing, and I know I'm going to be tongue-tied, so just bear with me. That's the one thing, like with casting, somebody should have got a name change, doggone it, because everybody's name is the same. What is going on? Y'all couldn't find no creative names, well, they creative, all right, but not in the right way. Anyway, back to the story. So, I can understand how Maurice could feel a way about that. But I think what Maurice needs to do is he needs to step outside of himself and realize, like, maybe you didn't show up the way that you thought or you intended on showing up for him when he was younger, because he should honestly feel a different type of way about you. And I can understand from Jalen's perspective too. He's like, well, when I was younger, I just didn't want to get too attached, because he owned it himself. Like, he didn't want to get super attached to you because he didn't know what would happen between you and his mom. Which is sad, but I can understand that standpoint too. So it's really sad. And, he feels like, Monster, who is Maurice's actual son, he seemed like he's a golden child. And then Jalen just over here just like, hey, I kind of get the scraps. And the one thing that I appreciate about the cast, and by, the 2 brothers being there with their 2 wives, they're trying to let Maurice know, like, hey, although this might not have been your intentions, that's how he feels. And I get that you're saying, like, hey, we were raised one way, but Marceau is like, bro, we wasn't raised like stepkids. Like, you're treating him like the stepchild instead of treating him like your actual biological child. And I hope he feels that. I hope he understands that. And one of the biggest things that he has to take away is that, I understand that the love is there, but he doesn't feel the actions behind it. And then when they have their sit down a little bit later, I kind of can definitely get that sense between him and Marceau. And we're going to definitely talk about that. But, at this point too, Jalen, bro, you a little grown. And I understand that we want those connections with those parents. But Iyanla Vanzant said it once, is that what you want? You're never going to get it. Like, you have to figure out a way for you to bridge that gap and build a relationship with the person that you are today, with the man that he is today as well. Because you're never going to get that parent figure. He's done all that he can do. Your mom has done all that she can do. You're a grown man now. Try to figure out that relationship now as all adults for y'all to be able to move forward. But yeah. So, we talked about all of that. So we get into a scene with Trisha and Ken, and they're having a photo shoot for her birthday. I was a little confused by this because I was like, well, why he in a photo shoot if it's for your birthday? And I was like, wait, is it for her birthday or is this like an anniversary thing? But it's for her birthday, child. She said that, this is her 38th birthday, and I mean no shade when I say this. I did not know that lady was 38. Trisha looks good, but I don't know why I thought she was in her 40s. I really thought she was in her 40s. I mean, 38 and 40, I mean, that's kind of here, but I really thought that she was in her 40s. I thought that she was a little bit older. That's the thing with Love and Marriage Huntsville. Some of the cast skew a little bit older than what they actually are. Some of them. I don't know if it's the fashions. I don't know what it is. But some of them do skew just a smidget older than what they actually happen to be. But, you know, we see these two, Trisha and Ken, you know, we have them at that photo shoot. And they're discussing her ex-husband, Marquez. Y'all see what I'm talking about? We got Martell, we got Marceau, we got Maurice, we got Martez, we got Marquez, we got everything. Every Tez, M, baby, they went through the list of M names and said, give everybody from Huntsville gotta have a name with an M. Everybody. Baby, I'm scared if I go and visit Huntsville, I'm gonna come back and be Mustin, baby. To take the D off my name and replace it with an M. Everybody got an M name. Golly, calm down up there. Anyway, so, you know, they start having a discussion about, you know, her ex-husband and, you know, him walking in the house and just the drama of all of them. And I'm going to tell y'all, only thing that relationship needs is therapy. I don't know, and I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be shady. Something is wrong with that Marquez. It's just every time he get on the screen, I'm like, what's going on with him? And I feel bad for their son because it seems like their son is the one that's trying to like defuse the situation between them oftentimes. But it's always something going on with this man. Like, we need to get this man some serious help. Last season, I feel like he needed some help. And this season, I feel like he need even more help, child. So Carlos, do what you got to do. Call the people. Get Oprah on the line. And get this man some professional help. Because it is something going on with that man. Like, it's really alarming, like, how he just goes to these places. And it's like it's so apparent. The thing, like, when they talked about, like, when he said, you know, I contested because you said that we didn't have any minor children. And they were like, it's on the divorce document, bro. Like, all of it is here. And then it's like, then he moves the goalpost again. It is the weirdest thing. I don't understand. Love and Marriage Huntsville is definitely known for their delusion of men. The men on this show is very delusional. Very much so. But yeah, child. So they talk about that. It is what it is, child. We can just go ahead. All right, so we do get a sit down. So after that scene between Trisha and Ken at her birthday photo shoot, we get a sit down between Jalen, Maurice, and Marceau. So it looks like Jalen and Marceau are already sitting down, and Maurice pulls up, who is Jalen's stepfather. And I'm going to be real with you, Maurice, and I'm so glad that Marceau called this out. There was definitely a tone in the way that you said, oh, well, I mean, I haven't gotten an invite to his house. And then you tried to backtrack and make it seem like it wasn't. I'm glad that your brother called you on that and be like, dude, what's that tone? Like, you wanted an invite. Maybe you should reach out to him and like, just like, hey, man, I'm going to come over. I'm going to help you with this. Like, as his parent figure, as his father figure, you should have created that space for him to feel comfortable to come to you. I understand that he's grown and he wants to do some things on his own, but he should be coming to you and not going to his, well, I can understand wanting to go to different people for different reasons, but you should want to figure out why he's not doing that instead of kind of being passive aggressive on why he's not inviting you. Like, really do the work to figure that out. And, you know, you do feel a way that he's inviting his uncle, and his uncle is honestly invested in him, his growth, his career. And also, to him and Marceau gave him, I think, his first job. Like, he worked with the man. Marceau sold into this boy a lot. So a lot of the things that he has that helped build him into the man that he is due to Marceau. Not to discredit what you did, Maurice, but a lot of that is due to him. And Jalen, the way that Jalen broke it down and was like, you know what, Maurice, you are a dictator, and I feel like I'm low on the totem pole. Like he said, as a dictator, people that are close to you, you cool. But the people that are further out, you don't really care about them as much. And Maurice is like, that's how you feel? And he was like, absolutely. Like, on that totem pole, I feel like it's my mom, it's Monster, who is your actual son, and then it's him. And why does he feel this way? And you're like, well, you know, actually, it shouldn't be him. It should, you know, Monster's the one that's at the lowest. I think that we should stop with the kids being who's lowest, and it should be, if you want to do hierarchy, I understand, you know, you have your wife, and then you have your children. It shouldn't be my wife, Jalen, Monster, or my wife, Monster, Jalen. It should be my wife and then my children. And I think that's the thing that Jalen is trying to get you to understand. And I think that a large part of Maurice's issue is sometimes black men, they misunderstand what parenting is for their children. And sometimes black men, they like, you know what? I went to work every day. You had a roof over your house. You had food on the table. You ain't have to worry about nothing. But I don't know who you are emotionally. So now that I'm grown and you no longer have to do those things for me, who are you? I don't know you, sir. Like, you're right. Hey, how you doing? And just going about my day. And that's sometimes what parents don't understand. Like, I'm not saying be best friends with your child, but your child should have another understanding of you instead of like that dictatorship. It should develop and it should grow as your kids are getting older. Jalen and Monster are not the same age, so I can understand the parenting being different between those two, but the love should be the same. And I think that's what they're trying to get you to see. And it does seem like y'all come to a good resolution by the end of this conversation, but Jalen drops the bomb and lets it be known that he is moving to Colorado by the end of the month because he accepted a job. And in this moment, Maurice gave him some great advice. Hey, when it comes to you investing in your career, sometimes you do have to take a slight pay cut for a greater come up. So I think that the capacity is there for Maurice to show up for him a little bit more. He just needs to do it. But honestly, Maurice, do you care to do it? That's what I want to see. Honestly, do you really care to do it? Because I'm going to be real with you. Even with Monster, it seems like Kimmy is more invested in Monster than you are sometimes. So, I don't know, Maurice. You're going to have to change your approach on how you're approaching your kids. One thing I am shocked about, though, Marceau, I don't know what Marceau got going on this week. I don't know if it's a scheme that Ty done set up to come to us with the BS, but Marceau this season is like the voice of reason, and he's a good guy, don't get me wrong. But Marceau, what's going on? Because you too cool this season. I don't know. You too cool, so I'm going to have my eyes on you, but I'm really liking what you giving this season, so I don't know if I fully trust it, but I definitely got my eyes on you. Now, after we get out of that scene, we segue to Trish going to see Nell at her business, at her daycare. And, we go ahead and get into it. Nell essentially has an issue because she feels like Kimmy and Latisha, see, here we go again. Kimmy and Latisha aren't fully transparent about what they have going on in their marriages. And she kind of wants Trisha's opinion on this. The thing is with Nell in this particular situation, what are you wanting them to be transparent about? Is there something that you know that you aren't just saying? Because it's really confusing because you're not being transparent, but transparent on what? Is it the information that Martell said? But if no one feels like that's true, there's nothing to be transparent on. So it's a little weird because we don't know what it is that you want them to be transparent on. And it even comes back up later. But, Trisha's telling her about her birthday party and how she invited everybody. But she said, baby, not Martell and not Marquez. Baby, they not invited to the shindig. They not invited to the boots on the ground, the booty shorts, and the denim. She said they not invited to that, baby. They can stay at the house. And, right on cue, because, Nell needs to make sure people's energies are right. And she feels like Latisha, she be having a liquid courage and she don't be transparent about her relationship. And she want to bring up Nell's relationship and don't want to bring up her own marriage. And I'm going to say this too. We can say what we want to say about Latisha and marsauscott. Their relationship has been transparent because we 10 seasons in, y'all. We 10 seasons in. Ain't no side chick popped up, or if it has, it hasn't stuck. No children have popped up. We hear little rumblings, but nothing has stuck. So they are transparent. They talk about these things on camera. Yeah, they shut it down and they might not talk about it in detail like we want them to, but they talking about it. So I don't really know what it is that you're wanting them to. What more do you want them to do? It's not that deep. And I appreciated Latricia in this moment. Is her name Trish in this moment, not really giving too much on it. And I feel like they're just protective of their relationship. That's it. They just protecting what's important to them. And that is what it is. And child, let's talk about this scene here. The next scene, baby, we got Martell. Listen, Martell and his mama, Miss Marlene, 2 more M's. Martell and Miss Marlene coming on the scene, baby. Martell said, you know what, let me wake up and take my mama to a quick little breakfast. Let me give my mama something to eat. She walk in the door with her good bob, baby. She had her bob and her dark eyeshadow smudged up across her face. He said, Mama, I already ordered you a Coca-Cola. She said, all right, baby, you know that's what I like. Baby, they ready for breakfast. When I tell y'all, Martell mama all right with me, baby, when he got to talking about some, I'm gonna let Ariane move into my property, my investment property. And I was like, oh, okay, that's nice. She gonna move in the house with him. And then he got his little, his cipher. He said, yeah, she can't move in the house with me until, there's a ring on it. Now, hold on. I read this all wrong. I'm thinking she moving in the house with you. She moving into your rental property. Excuse me, sir. I need to figure out why y'all can't live together. What's going on here? Now, somebody on the TikTok said that they feel like, they can't live together because maybe it's something in their divorce decree. I don't know nothing about none of that. But Martell, at this point, go ahead and put a ring on that girl finger, because let me tell you something. That don't make no sense to me. That don't make no sense. You know what? I don't know what Martell got going on. Martell is a witch and he a warlock. And let me tell y'all, people, gays, theys, thems, hims, and hers, baby, y'all be careful. If y'all run into somebody like Martell, run, baby. That is a dangerous type of human. I don't know what that man got. I don't even want to touch it. I'm so scared. He fine as I'll get out. But when the Lord was making, I don't know if he was made by the Lord or the devil. I don't know who made him. But baby, Miss Marlene, I don't know if that's Rosemary's baby. That's the baby from Rosemary's baby. That's Martell, baby, because he is causing calamity down here on earth. Y'all be careful with that Martell. If you run into a Martell spirit, you run, girl. They fine, but they'll deceive you and they'll leave you high and dry and they'll put you in investment property. They won't even move you into their home. So you got to be careful with the Martells. Baby, that man, woo. Y'all think he gonna marry that girl? I don't think he gonna marry her. I really don't. But if he does, shout out to her. And I'm going to just say this to the people too. Don't look at her as no fairy tale and thinking that that's what every relationship is going to be like. Don't think that you're going to sit up there and be with somebody else's partner and think that you're going to get them at the end. Baby, I'm telling y'all, it don't work out that way. It don't work out that way. It don't work out that way. Move on. Find you somebody that's meant for you. The Lord ain't meant for you to be with somebody else's man, woman, flower powder, none of that. Just keep that in mind. Now, when Martell mama has said, she done went through a lot to get you. Baby, this scene right here to me was the best of the episode. Like, Miss Marlene was not playing when it came to Martell, because, she wasn't too, when it came to Ariane, she wasn't too keen on that because she didn't like the way that lady had, because she really liked the Melody. She was team Melody. She was team them being married, and she really liked her daughter-in-law. I'm getting hot. And she didn't want them to break up. But she said, you know what it is. My son liked this girl, so I'm going to go ahead and be cool with her. But Miss Marlene, you all right. Y'all give us some more scenes. We definitely need a spin-off between Miss Marlene and dog, what's his mama name? Miss Wanda. Oh, how did I forget Miss Wanda? Miss Wanda. We definitely did a spin-off, baby. We definitely need to spin off between them. Them just going to different areas in the world, vacations, just cutting up. It'll be a good time. That would be a really, really, really good time. All right, so after that scene, in that scene, they're talking about Marceau, the whole interviews that Ariane and him did, and then Marceau and Tisha, it was childish. That whole situation was childish of them doing that online, and I'm glad that they moved on from it because it was stupid. And Martell, I'm going to say this. There was proof of yours. There ain't been no proof of theirs. So, whatever. We're going to move on from all of that. Now, we finally get to Trisha's party. And it was funny when I saw Tisha and Marceau walk in, and Tisha was like, wait, I thought this was her birthday. Why he up there on the picture with her? It was so funny because everybody is thinking the same thing. Girl, why you ain't take a picture by yourself? So it's good to see the cast catching up. We see Nell and Chris's son walk in. I think his name is Lawrence. Yeah, Lawrence is fine. We see him walking in, and they kind of asking him, giving him congratulations on the baby because he just had a baby. Child, Destiny ain't know nothing about it, and she a little hot, and she ain't there. Y'all, Destiny wasn't in this episode at all. I feel like last time Destiny did this, she ain't come back the next season. So Destiny, you need to do what you got to do to stay on camera, girl. But Lance was, that's his name, Lance. Lance was, he's saying, he's taking care of the baby. I think it was weird because it kind of seemed like they had a conversation about the him and Destiny situation, but we didn't get the full thing. So I don't know why he didn't just announce it to her ahead of time, but I don't know if they were really together like that at that time anyway. So I don't know. We'll figure it out when we get later on in the season because we're going to have some more to talk about. So, everybody's talking about the baby. We already talked about that. All right. So when they're sitting down, Latisha, Kimmy. So we have the ladies, Latisha, Kimmy, Nell, and Trish. They sitting down and they're having a conversation. And Tisha is asking her, hey girl, how you feeling about your relationship? Because last time I felt like you were 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And Trish was like, no, I want to get married. But Trish, I'm going to be real with you. Last time it did seem like you had 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Like you weren't sure if you really wanted to marry this man. And that man is there. He's taking care of you and your kids. He stepped up when your husband left. Go ahead and get this divorce finalized. And go ahead and do what y'all need to do to get married. Because y'all are already doing it. Just go ahead and get the paperwork signed. And speaking of that, as that conversation's happening, the men are having a conversation with Ken, essentially about the same thing, about Ken and Marquez. And Maurice gave a very interesting perspective. And he was like, Ken, a lot of people aren't on your side on this because they are actually still technically married. And Maurice just let Ken know, like, hey, in some people's story, you are the bad guy. Because you are coming between these two people who still are married, who seem to be taking forever to get a divorce. So I can understand why he's having that conversation with him to give him a different perspective. I don't know if I necessarily agree, but I can understand and I can appreciate the sentiments for the different perspective. Now, another thing too, when Ken was like, you know what, child, these two are not the ones. We talk about Maurice and more so. These are not the ones to be taking that relationship advice from. I'm going to say this, Ken. They still married and their relationship seemed to be good. Okay, I don't know. They still married and their relationship seemed to be good, especially Marceau and Tisha. Like, their relationship seemed to be good. It might not be everybody's cup of tea, but they seem to have a good relationship and they work well together for what works for them. It might not work for you, but it does work well for them. So yeah, we just gonna say that. So, we get back over to the ladies and we see Kimmy is asking, hey girls, when we all gonna get back together, have lunch, when we gonna meet up, have a cute little powwow. Baby, and then that's when Nell come in here and she get it started. Nell was like, you know what? I just don't feel like y'all are really transparent. And everybody's like, what are we not transparent on? Like, give us examples. And then, Tisha just kind of started going off. Tisha was like, listen, I don't know why I keep calling this girl Tisha. Tisha was like, look. And because Nell was like, well, y'all talk about my family. And then Tisha was like, and we'll continue. Tisha, girl, calm down, girl. We got your back, but not too much too soon. You got to be chill. You got to go into it real slow, girl. Chill out, girl. You're moving way too fast. So I will say, when Tisha was talking about it, she had some good points. She just was coming a little bit too strong with her points. Because I don't think, Letitia was kind of deflecting a little bit, when she was just like, well, y'all had y'all issues, you and Chris, and they call him Fletch, y'all had y'all's marital issues out here in the streets and they still saying things and I don't want to bring that to you on this platform. And then Nell was like, hey, I'm transparent. I own it. That stuff that they're talking about right now is not true. Have we gone through some stuff? Possibly. So I think that Nell is owning it. I think Nell is wanting her to say, hey, there has been infidelity in my relationship. We have worked through it. But to Tisha's point, if I haven't had it, I haven't had it. And y'all are wanting me to say, hey, this man stepped out on me. And she said, if it happened, I would be willing to talk about it and talk about how I was able to work through those things. But it hasn't happened. And once again, we 10 seasons in. Could it have happened? Absolutely. But if he did do it, he was smart enough, and he was smart enough not to do it on camera. He was smart enough to do it to not get caught. And then I think people are saying, well, the reason that they're not getting caught allegedly is because of the NDAs. I just don't see that being a thing. I don't know. Could it have happened? Sure. I don't know. We don't know. But we can only go off of what we've seen. And y'all, we haven't seen anything. So I think we should just move on from the whole thing. Because I feel like every season, it is about them two cheating. And until it is like in our face and it has happened, because Martell be saying that see how I keep getting it mixed up? Martell be saying that he have receipts. But where are they? We just need them. So just produce the actual stuff to prove that this stuff happened. So until then, listen, over here, you are innocent until proven guilty, not guilty until proven innocent. They innocent right here on the Singing the T channel, honey, until we get some hardcore facts. Don't send me nothing because I don't want no pause. All right. So, before we get over to the guys, Trisha was talking about some she transparent. Now, Trisha, I think you should just sat there and just drink your juice, girl, because Trisha, you've been lying too much. Now, this season, we don't know yet, okay? We only 4 episodes in. But last season, this is my first time meeting Martell. No, we went to high school together. Oh, I ain't never been to his house. Yeah, I did go to his house to help him work out. Girl, what is it? We don't know, okay? So I think you should have just said, I'm transparent a little bit. I'm transparent. If there's a scale, I'm 25% transparent. 75% I don't know yet. Okay, that's what you should have said, because we don't really know what you got going on. Okay, now we like you. Alright, okay, all right. So we get over to the guys, and they're talking about boundaries and the NDA rumors. And you know what? Marceau, he just addresses Chris. Like, hey, man, listen, I heard you've been making comments about me and my brother on having NDAs or having people sign NDAs. And Chris was like, nah, that's not what happened. And he gave his version of what happened. It's a little confusing because they keep doing flashbacks of him saying like, well, hey, that sounds like something that Maurice and Marceau would say. So I don't know where the source of that conversation came from. But Chris is kind of coming off like you did kind of say something like that. So I'm not really too sure. So allegedly, child, because I ain't too sure on this stuff. It's a little like murky real quick with this. Now, when it goes back to the ladies having the conversation, I'm 100% with Kimmy. And Kimmy was like, listen, if you can't give me an example of what you're talking about, keep it on the playground. And then that's when they brought up the situation again to the ladies about what Martell had said in his interview. And Tisha, again, she getting up, she ready to just nuck if you book, baby. She go over there to the men. Now, Tisha, I didn't like this. I did not like you going over there to the guys, and basically all the women go over there. I didn't like you and Chris, or you essentially trying to go at Chris like that. And I'm glad that your husband did eventually step in and be like, hey, me and Chris talked about this. Me and you will talk later. Like, it's good. And you going over there, putting your hand in his face, or like, Nell is in between. It was a little bit much. And I feel like depending on who you were doing that, I feel like you did it with Nell because, I don't think Nell is really about that life. Had it been somebody else, I don't really see you doing that. So I feel like you did a little too much because those situations can escalate a lot, especially when you're coming at somebody else's partner. And, even Marceau was like, Tisha looks at these people as husbands, and she sometimes forgets they're not her husband. You can't speak to them like that. Honestly, girl, you don't even speak to yours like that. So, girl, you keep it cute. That wasn't cool. And I like Tisha, but that was not cool. But yeah, even Kimmy was like trying to calm it down, but like, girl, it ain't like calm down. Tisha was doing too much. Now, I ain't saying she was lost in the sauce, but she was doing a little too much. And she was in rare form that night, baby. She had a lot going on. And I'm glad Marceau stepped in and he stopped it where it was. And that's essentially where the episode ends on episode 4. So, listen, Love and Marriage Huntsville, although Melody is missed, it's nice because like while watching it, I'm not even like, oh, Melody's not here. So although she'll be missed, I hope we get some cameos of her here and there. But yeah, it's really turning out to be a pretty good season so far. So we're going to be on this journey. We're going to continue to do reviews on Love and Marriage Huntsville. If DC comes back, you know what, we can add Love and Marriage DC to the fold as well. Because I'm really, really enjoying what OWN has going on. I'm enjoying what Carlos King is bringing us with. And with that being said, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell button so when I do drop new content, you do get those alerts when I have something new. But until next time, I'll see y'all later, crew.